Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name's Amanda. So today's video is just a little different. We've got a couple of recipes we're gonna do, and those are really yummy and I can't wait to share those with y'all. And then we're also gonna just sit down and have a chat. I'm gonna update y'all on all the stuff that's been going on with us and things like that, and so stay tuned for that after these recipes. But I'm excited to share these with you. They were really yummy. So let's go ahead and get into these recipes. And like I said, that chat will be after. So I'm just kind of calling this a cooking chat. But we'll go ahead and get into the video. So let's get started on our baked tortellini. Y'all, this was so very good and one of the quickest things you could throw together. Now, I didn't have any meat already cooked up. I've got to actually bulk cook some more ground beef. But so I actually started this out with, browning my ground beef. I'm going to add in some chopped onion and some garlic. This is actually about 2 pounds of meat, and the recipe only calls for a pound. So here in a little bit, you're going to see me actually scoop out some of the meat. So I set it to the side and actually saved it for something else. But the recipe did not call for the onion, but I don't know about y'all, but I just love onion and ground beef like that, especially with something like, like spaghetti-ish, I don't know, something like that. So to me, I really wanted the onion in there. So I did add that. I always will leave the recipe linked in the description box below, and I usually try to always remember to add any notes too that like I changed or anything I did differently. Now once we get, that out, I'm going to go ahead and add our spices in, and then we're going to stir that around a little bit and get it mixed together and add in our spaghetti sauce. You just use 1 jar of, spaghetti sauce, marinara sauce. This is actually a really super low sodium. So if you are watching your sodium, it's a great brand to use. It's really tasty and very low sodium. And actually in this recipe, the tortellini is very high in sodium. So it really helps to kind of save that wherever you can. So I've got my frozen tortellini that I'm adding here. I just let it thaw on the counter for like 45 minutes. That way that it'd be kind of a little bit separated and everything. And it kind of finishes getting all that ice off there and breaking it up there with the heat from the sauce and the meat and everything. And I'm going to go ahead and add in half of a package of shredded mozzarella. It's like the, I think it's the 8-ounce one, the 2-cup package. And we're going to go ahead and get this spooned into our casserole dish. This is actually going to bake covered. Oh, and we're going to actually top it with some more mozzarella and some Parmesan cheese. And we're going to cover it and bake it in the oven for at 350 degrees for 20 minutes while it's covered. But then we're going to uncover it and bake it for 20 more. So it ends up baking for a total of 40 minutes. So this comes together so fast and easy. I can't even tell you. I found one recipe that like made you cook the tortellini beforehand. I thought, I wonder why you'd have to do that, because it's baking in the oven, So when I found this one that actually lets you just put it in frozen, I was like, fantastic. Well, it actually says to thaw it under thaw it a little bit under running water, but I didn't need to do that. Just 45 minutes on the counter, it broke up. It worked fine. I would not even fool with that. I would just let it sit out while you're cooking the meat, and you'll be, it'll be good to go. But it's truly like pretty much a dump and go kind of meal, just about once you dump everything into the pan, kind of heat everything up, and then, get it in the casserole dish. So this was so amazing. It would be perfect with like a side salad and some crusty bread, maybe some garlic bread or something like that. I absolutely love this. My youngest, he absolutely loved it, and he's very picky. And I'm sure you could probably even do this with like ravioli if you wanted to. I may have even seen a recipe like that one time. But I had never tried anything like this, and I was really pleased with how it turned out. We'll definitely make this again. It was just really delicious. And I feel like as we're getting into like the fall time, that casseroles and baked things like that are just so yummy to have, and it's not as hot, so we can run our ovens a little bit more, because during the summer that can be hard to do. So but yeah, this was delicious. Highly recommend this recipe. Definitely let me know if y'all try it, because we loved it. So we're going to get started on our pumpkin bread, and we're going to do a streusel topping for that. So we're actually making the streusel topping first. In that bowl, I'm just adding some melted butter, some flour, brown sugar, a little bit of granulated sugar, and some pumpkin pie spice, or actually I just use pie spice. I think it's pretty much the same thing. But we're going to just stir that up together, and then you want to cover that and put it in the refrigerator while you make the cake portion, just to kind of get it solidified and kind of more in those chunks and everything that it'll be in. Now we're going to go ahead and get started on our bread part. And y'all, I messed up here. I'm going to tell you a little bit more in a minute. But I've got some flour going in here. We'll also put in some sugar, some brown sugar, some baking soda, cinnamon, more of the pie spice, a little bit of salt. And actually, I was supposed to do the dry ingredients separate, and I realized that a little bit into like stirring this together. And so I did go ahead and just have to, you know, obviously put the wet ingredients in here. So we're going to add in some vegetable oil, some eggs, a little bit of milk, and I actually ended up forgetting the vanilla until I've got all this stirred together. And then I put the vanilla in here. So y'all, it was just not my day for making this bread. And of course, we couldn't have pumpkin bread without pumpkin. I forgot to mention that a minute ago. But yeah, so this was, you know, fine. It turned out fine. I do try to always do dry ingredients and wet ingredients separately. But I've seen so many people not do that. I don't think it's catastrophic usually when that happens, obviously, because too many people don't do it. So, and you save a bowl, although I didn't because I got 2 bowls out to do it separate, but then I messed up. So it's just one of those things, you know, mistakes happen and we just go on and do the best we can, and that's always good too. So, but we're going to actually put this in a buttered loaf pan, and if you want to make it really easy to lift out, you might want to use parchment paper, kind of like a parchment paper, kind of leave it up on the sides so you can kind of lift it up. But I didn't want to really fool with parchment paper, so I thought I'd just do this. And I was able to get it out, thankfully, without, you know, without it having any issues or anything like that. But if you want it to be really easy, definitely line it with parchment paper, leave it sticking out kind of like a sling, and then that way you can just lift it out and get it, you know, really, really easily out. And not have to sweat whether it's going to come out of the, you know, pan or not. But I'm just, you know, putting my crumble on top, the streusel topping. And y'all, I don't know about you, but I love streusel topping. Like on any type of dessert thing like that, it's so yummy. And this was really good. I'm not a huge pumpkin bread person, but like my husband and my daughter are, and they absolutely love this. I enjoyed it too. I'm just not a huge pumpkin bread person, but I knew they would really like it. So, and they did. Now this is a really moist pumpkin bread. So if you like that, this is definitely a recipe for you. I'll have it linked below, but don't forget to stay tuned, and we're going to sit down and have a chat. I'm going to update y'all about everything that's been going on with us lately. Hi friends, I'm sorry that it has taken me so long to film this. The last little bit has just been a lot to process. It's been crazy. It's just been a lot. So, you know, if y'all have read my community post, and I may have mentioned it, I don't think I've really mentioned it in a video, maybe in a comment or something like that. But my husband was recently diagnosed with blood cancer. It was very unexpected. He was just getting his regular, you know, blood work done for the year, and you know, we did not expect anything like that. So it was a lot to take in, a lot to process. He has what's called polycythemia vera. It is an extremely rare form of blood cancer. It's a chronic blood cancer, so it's not like there's a cure. There's not, he won't really go into remission. I think that has rarely happened for a select few, but like it's not the typical thing to happen. It is something he will live with every day of his life. So that has been a lot. You know, in some ways I feel like, you know, it's weird because like this is a different kind of cancer. It's not, you know, he doesn't take, you know, chemo right now or anything like that, although a chemo pill may be in his future. Will most likely be in his future, unless something like, you know, obviously a cure comes up or something like that. But right now what they treat it with is therapeutic phlebotomies, which is kind of like giving blood, but I'm not sure exactly how similar it is. I don't know if they take more or what the, you know, difference is there. He also takes a daily aspirin. Essentially, his blood is too thick. The blood cells are like malformed, and it puts him at a very increased risk of heart attack, stroke, blood clots, things like that. So definitely very scary things. So things that have not been fun to think about. But essentially, you know, right now they are working on getting his counts lower, his hematocrit down, and his red blood cells, you know, back to normal. They are trying to do that with phlebotomies, the therapeutic phlebotomies. And right now his counts are coming down. We're, you know, we don't know. It's really one of those things where we don't know like when they're going to introduce that medication. Technically he could choose to go on it now, but it apparently has a lot of side effects, or can have a lot of side effects. And so that's something that we'd like to put off, and the doctor recommend putting off if possible, you know. So he did go see a specialist, and this person actually, this doctor actually like specializes just specifically in, you know, these types of cancers. He's an MPN specialist, and I would tell you what that means, but I forgot how to say it exactly right. It's like, I don't even want to try it because I think I'm going to mess it up. But I will link something down in the description box as far as like a link to more information about polycythemia vera and that type of thing, just in case, you know, you're curious or anything like that. But it's definitely been a lot. And unfortunately, the same week, well, actually, let me backtrack just a little bit before I get to that. So when he has these therapeutic phlebotomies, they take a lot out of him. He is exhausted. He gets severe brain fog, confusion. He, you know, just hurts sometimes, even like his body hurts. Apparently like bone pain and things like that is very common with this cancer. There's just a lot of things that can happen with it that, you know, we don't really fully like know everything yet, and don't know what kinds of different things that, you know, he's going to have to deal with. I will say though, the biggest blessing has been that he has not yet had a heart attack, a stroke, or a blood clot. You know, those are actually ways that people often find out they have this cancer. So that I'm very thankful for. So, you know, hopefully, you know, he continues to not, you know, have those kinds of complications. Those are very scary things. So, you know, it's just, we're hopeful that, you know, that he won't have any issues like that as long as his numbers stay well and things like that. So, just things that, you know, he has to keep an eye on, and, you know, just like I said, doing these phlebotomies and his daily aspirin, and until he eventually goes on that chemo drug. So, now the same week that we found out he had cancer, I also found out I would most likely be losing my job. I did end up losing my job. That was very difficult for me. This was my first, I guess you would kind of call it grown-up job. I don't know. I mean, I know any job is a grown-up job to an extent. But like, you know, I went back to school in, let's see, 2013. I went back to college. I got my degree and graduated in 2018. My husband also went back. We went to school at the same time, and that was fun too. We actually took a couple classes together, so that was really fun. But this was the job I got right after graduating. It was something that I really enjoyed. I feel like I'm really good at. It was heartbreaking, to say the least, to, you know, find out I was going to lose that. So that was really hard for me to deal with. I struggled with that a lot. There was a lot of stress going on at that time, obviously. So it's just been a lot lately. It's been a lot. So, you know, when I found that out, I did go ahead and start, you know, applying for different jobs and trying to see if I could find something else. And I actually did find another job. You know, it actually will be, let's see, about a little over a month from the day, my last day at my previous job, that I'll start this job. So I'm really excited, really nervous, lots of different emotions there too. You know, once you get used to something, I think that, you know, it's like, you know, once you start doing any kind of job and you kind of feel like, okay, now I kind of feel good. I know what I'm doing, you know, things like that. And you kind of get into that like routine of things. It's really hard to start all over and be the new one again, you know. And so I've struggled with that as well. Just so many different things. And I'm very blessed to have found a job that quickly. I'm very thankful for that. So, you know, I was excited to be able to share that with y'all too, that, you know, I actually, you know, was able to get that quickly. So that was fantastic. But, you know, I struggle with like anxiety, depression, things like that. I've struggled with that since I was a teenager. So it has, this has been a very difficult season for us, and especially for like, you know, my mental state and things like that. And so, it's just been a lot. And so unfortunately, it's kind of put me in a place to where I have not been able to focus as much on YouTube as I would have liked. You know, I love doing YouTube. I love cooking. I love chatting with y'all in the comments. I love just building that sense of community that we have. And I just love all that. And so I hate that I have not been in a good place to really continue, you know, filming and really thinking about videos and things like that. I've done you know, a few here and there since all this kind of started, like, or a couple, I guess, since all of this started. But, you know, I know I haven't been putting out much content. I'm going to try my hardest to put out more and be more regular, at least once a week. I would like to get a couple of videos out a week, but we'll kind of have to play it by ear. Especially with this new job, that is another thing, is that the big difference is I was part-time before, and this is going to be a full-time job. I don't yet know, you know, how everything's going to go as far as like just, you know, establishing a schedule or routine, you know, all those kinds of things. So there's definitely a lot of kind of, you know, planning and some, you know, rearranging and just some kind of waiting and seeing how it goes kind of thing that's going to happen. But I do want to get back onto YouTube and get more regular. Thank y'all so much though for bearing with me while this stuff has been going on. I appreciate all y'all's prayers so much. Definitely keep us in your prayers. It's just scary. You know, cancer is a scary word. Especially knowing that there's not really, short of them coming up with some kind of cure before, you know, he, you know, has like, you know, I mean, like things like that. Like that's really the only thing that like, that would really, change it dramatically. Yes, that would be awesome if they did that. And I have heard there's some clinical trials going on with some various things and stuff like that. So you never know. I mean, you never know what can happen. But it is just, it's been a lot to process between that and my job situation. So yeah, so it's been, a big distraction. It's been a lot of, you know, cause of, you know, I mean, just not being in that, you know, place of being able to focus on YouTube as much as I would like. So I am really excited to try to get back into things a little more. And, you know, like I said, I appreciate y'all's patience and just your friendship. And I just love y'all. I just appreciate it so much. If y'all have any questions, you know, definitely let me know down in the comments below. Like I said, I'll link that. I think there's a site I found that really told a lot more about his condition. So, you know, if you are curious about it, you can look on there too. I'll have it linked down in the description box. But yeah, I just really wanted to sit down and have an update. And I don't really do videos like this where I'm just sitting and talking to the camera. So, you know, I went ahead and filmed, you know, some, you know, like a recipe or two. And so I'm gonna put those in here, and it'll kind of be, you know, like a cooking chat is what I kind of themed it as. That's what everybody, when I asked in my community tab, that was kind of what everybody kind of voted for. And, you know, I know that it's always fun to see some cooking too. So, so I have that in here as well as this chat. And, you know, hopefully y'all, you know, enjoy hearing a little bit more, you know, and kind of, I'm glad to share it with y'all a little bit more of what's going on, because I know I've been very quiet, and I apologize for that. But yeah, so I'm ready to try to, you know, get back into it. Bear with me a little bit as I figure out this whole full-time job and balancing YouTube and balancing family and all the things, because that is something new to me. And especially balancing with his, he can't drive himself to his treatments because he can't drive after he's so weak. It takes a tremendous amount out of him. And so I drive him to his, therapeutic phlebotomies, and then, of course, I drive back home. We typically try to get him something to eat, like curbside, right after it, because it takes a lot out of him, and he really needs to eat really, like, as soon as he gets home to kind of replenish that. He eats before he leaves too. He drinks tons of water. He does all the things to try to help him deal with it better, but it's just a lot on his body. I guess everybody may be different with that kind of stuff, but especially since his body obviously is fighting a disease essentially too. So I'm sure that plays a whole part in why he has a little bit more struggles with feeling so poorly after it. And it lasts sometimes 2, 3, 4 days. I mean, it just depends on each time and stuff like that. So yeah, so I will try to update y'all just as we, if anything changes with him or anything is new. We were very glad to get that, specialist consult in. That was kind of like a second opinion, just to kind of verify some things and check with some things and things like that. So, but yeah, let me know if y'all have any questions. Just drop them in the comment box. Again, I appreciate y'all so much. I just can't tell you how much I appreciate your prayers and your thoughts and just everything. And thank you for just being a part of my channel, being a part of my YouTube family, and just for being there for me. I appreciate it so much. But I hope y'all have enjoyed this video. If you have, I'd love it if you'd hit that thumbs up button. Make sure to subscribe if you, like the content you see here. I'd love to have you as part of my YouTube family. And I hope y'all have a blessed day wherever you are. And I'll see you in the next one.